Hi, everybody. This week, we're going to look at digital tool evaluation. My throat is a little raspy today, and I'm not exactly sure why. I don't know if I'm getting sick or something, so I apologize from the bottom of my heart. I'm not going to show my face today because I'm drinking a lot to try and minimize the raspiness of my voice. So I apologize, but let's get into this. This week, you're going to be doing digital tool evaluation. We've done 5 learning tool explorations so far, and part of those explorations have been a semi formal way of evaluating. You've been thinking about the benefits and the frustrations of that tool for yourself personally, and and talking about whether or not you would use that tool again. So this week, we're going to take that informal way of looking at these tools and formalizing it and come up with a checklist or a way to look at learning tools more effectively and efficiently and professionally. This is something that you'll do across your lifetime. And even though you develop this checklist in the beginning, as you progress through your careers and as you use different tools in your lifetime, you're going to start evaluating that unconsciously. When I look at different tools, I can tell right off the bat whether or not I want to use them with my students or not. Just simple things like ease of use, ease of sign up. What are the security issues that I might face? If I'm in a K-12, am I going to want to use something that's a wiki that can be seen by the whole world? So these are different criteria that you want to look at. And then personally myself, I look at, is it, does it use things like keyboard shortcuts? Because I am, circa 1979, 80, when keyboard shortcuts, we didn't have mouses and we didn't have graphics. Everything was done with a keyboard. And so I'm of the mind that if I take my hands off the keyboard, then that's a waste of time. So I look for those keyboard shortcuts. But everybody's going to have something different that they want to use to evaluate. So the module learning objectives are number one, consider criteria when selecting a digital tool for use in learning. Then develop that checklist that could be used to evaluate the digital tool. And then share your list of criteria questions with everybody else and get feedback from them so that you can improve them for your final submission. Um, for those of you, if you've ever wondered what this CO3 might mean on the end of each of the objectives, this is, it aligns with objective number 3 that you can find in the course syllabus. So that's what that means. Um, the readings this week are will help to show you different specific features and things that you want to look at when evaluating a tool. Things like cost. Is it free? Are you going to have to download that software for free? Even if it is free, does it stand on your laptop or computer, or can you use it in the cloud? Um, Things like security are really important, and I think I've already mentioned that. Is it easy to use? Does it have a lot of features, or is it very simple? Then once you do all of the readings and resources, you are going to then come up with a minimum of 5 criteria. When you are selecting the criteria, you are also going to come up with some questions that correspond with that criteria. So as you go through the evaluation of any tool, ask yourself those questions. Think about how you selected the learning tools that you already have. What did you like about it? What did you think was valuable about it? Then you're going to reject some of those. When I talk about this idea of criteria, I want you to think about things like um, ease of use and what are some questions that you ask to determine that it's easy to use. Um, if it's what about cost? Consider cost as one of the criteria. Is it cost prohibitive? Do you have to be part of a higher education institution or a corporation that will pay for that tool? Or as an individual user, can you use it? Is it free for you as a teacher to subscribe versus as a student. You might ask yourself, how much does it cost? Does the benefit outweigh the costs? Will I use the tool enough in order to justify the cost of it? This is one of the reasons why I like open source, because when you look at things like Adobe resources, they're very cost prohibitive for an individual user. So, I still want to learn how to do all of those things like create images and presentations using Adobe like software. So I go to look for open source software programs. As you're coming up with questions, think about previous experiences you've had in evaluating different tools. What I'm expecting in this checklist is like a matrix or a table of some sort. I'm not looking for a long paragraph or a bulleted list. I want something that you can pull out and use to evaluate a tool that you're going to use, say, like next semester for school. I want you to think about um, the information that you get in your readings. That will really be a good place to help you get started. This is also going to connect to Module 13. In the Module 13 discussion, um, you're going to review your checklists and sharing your draft with each other and getting feedback. Be reflective and supportive of each other, but also one of the things that sometimes irks me is that everybody agrees with everybody else. And we know in a discussion forum, and we know that in the real world, we do not always agree with each other. People have differing opinions about things, different ways of doing things. And when you move out into the real world, that ability to negotiate, why a certain way things should be done a certain way is really a core part of working on a team of people, whether you're going into education or whether you are going into the business world. You really want to know how to look at things in different ways. And if people all agree with each other, then you're not getting any kind of growth and understanding about things. So I want you to not be afraid to challenge each other and say, hey, have you thought about doing something this way? Or have you thought about rewording this question this way? Have you thought about maybe putting that particular question, instead of under cost, maybe under ease of use? Don't be also one of the key points in doing a critical evaluation of anybody's work is to point out what you really liked at first. Don't go right off the bat guns running, but right off the bat, you want to, find something good about the checklist and then make some gentle suggestions about how they can improve. At the end of Module 13, you'll be turning in your final tool evaluation checklist, and then you'll be doing your journal entry. So best of luck in both Module 12 and then next week in Module 13.